Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Thursday, March 21st, 2024. It's the first day of the first round of the NCAA tournament. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball bank shop best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Thursday in college hoops. First up, we see Duquesne and BYU, the 11-6 matchup in the East region. This one, 12:40 Eastern on True TV. Now, there have been quite a few 11-6 upsets in recent years in college basketball, but this is not one of them that I can get behind. I do think Duquesne was very fortunate to get an 11 seed in this year's tournament. Give them credit for winning a tough conference in the A-10 and having to win 4 games in that conference tournament to get here, including a win over a fellow tournament team in Dayton. But still, this is a Duquesne team. It's got a good record on paper, but didn't play the toughest non-conference schedule. Struggled quite a bit at the beginning of conference play. They were 0-5. And while I think they're a solid team, I just wouldn't consider them an 11 seed. I think BYU's actually got a pretty good draw here. A BYU team that I think is a lot better than a 6 seed, honestly. They're a very efficient offense. The defense has some question marks, but at least they are very responsible on the defensive glass. They force some tough shots, and their three-point defense is pretty solid, top 60 in the country. Duquesne, a team that takes quite a few threes. They rely on making those three-point jumpers. I think it's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable offensively than it usually is in A-10 play. It's a Duquesne offense that turns the ball over quite a bit, which I don't love. They're not the best defensive rebounding team, so BYU, who's already a good shooting team, they should be able to get a lot of second chance looks because they are also a really good offensive rebounding team. So there's a reason why when you look at these 11-6 matchups, New Mexico's favored over Clemson. The other games are pretty close spreads. This one, we see BYU just under 10 points, almost a double-digit favorite. I think for good reason. Give me BYU. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we see Morehead State and Illinois. This one, 3:10 Eastern on True TV, a 14-3 matchup also in the East region. Illinois is a pretty sizable favorite here, but I'm looking at the total in this game. I think we have a sneaky under on our hands. Illinois, not really known for its defense. This is a potent offense. It has an NBA-level talent, and Terrence Shannon, who went off in the Big East or the Big Ten Conference tournament. We saw him score 40 points against Nebraska in that comeback victory, and then against Wisconsin, he was also dominant, 34 points, 15 of 17 from the free throw line. I expect him to have a big game and a big tournament overall, but I still think that when you look at the other side, Morehead State, this is an offense I think is quite overrated. Shot quality-wise, not the best. They turn the ball over quite a bit. They are a good rebounding team, but so is Illinois. So Morehead State, who usually gets quite a few second-chance looks, shouldn't be able to get those in this ballgame. I think Morehead State's offense really struggles in this game. The question is, can Morehead's defense do enough to keep this game under the total? And while Illinois I still think wins this game pretty handily, Morehead State's defense was top 10 in the country in effective field goal percentage defense. They were also responsible on the defensive glass. They were top 30 in both 3-point and 2-point defense. So while the shot quality numbers aren't the best there, I still think it's a defense that proved it can get it done, especially in tournament level games where we saw in the championship game, Morehead State held a Little Rock to 55 points in that 14-point victory. So I like the under here in Morehead State, Illinois. Next up, we see another 14-3 matchup. This time in the South region, it's going to be Oakland and Kentucky. It's going to be 7:10 Eastern on CBS. I know a lot of people are going to have Kentucky going deep in this year's tournament, so this is not going to be the most popular selection. But if you've watched the Bank Shop Breakdown from the beginning of the season, you'll probably know where I'm going with this one. As Kentucky's a team I just think has been overrated for quite a while this year. I think this team has a ton of raw talent. They are certainly fun to watch. A great offense, a potent offense. A couple guys that can just go crazy from three-point range at any time, including Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd, who shot 52.5% in the regular season. But I also look at that defense for Kentucky, and if you've watched videos, making your bracket this year or reading articles, you probably heard something about teams that have great offenses and bad defenses just do not do too well in this tournament, especially when their defense is ranked outside the top 100 in the adjusted defensive efficiency. And Kentucky is one of those teams. They're ranked 110th in the nation in adjusted defensive efficiency. They don't force many turnovers. They don't force many tough shots. They're not a great defensive rebounding team. So I worry about this team in the long run. I think, especially in this first round game where they're a huge favorite, there's value with the underdog in this game. We see so many upsets in the first round of the tournament, especially recently. We've seen 16 seed, 15 seed upsets. So why not a 14 seed in Oakland? It's experience, has a very experienced coach. This is a team that plays in a Horizon League conference that, a lot of these teams take a ton of three-point jumpers. So while Kentucky's certainly going to make those threes at a lot better rate than Green Bay or, Purdue Fort Wayne, it's still an Oakland team. It's familiar with the style of play that Kentucky implements. And I think Oakland can go score for a little while. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull out the outright W, but I certainly think this is way too many points. Oakland takes care of the ball. They get up good shots. They're a good shooting team. They've got a great player in Trey Townsend, who could be, one of the better players in this tournament, honestly. And I think Oakland, there's value there. So give me the points with the Grizzlies. Next up, we see McNeese and Gonzaga, 12-5 matchup in the Midwest region. This one's 7:25 Eastern. It's going to be on TBS. Now, every year when people are making their brackets, they're always looking for these 12-5 upsets, and for good reason. There's a lot of 12-5 upsets we've seen in the last decade plus, and this is one of those matchups a lot of people are looking at because McNeese, a 30-3 overall record. They took care of business in the Southland pretty easily, and while they didn't play the toughest non-conference schedule, they still have some nice wins against VCU, UAB, and Michigan in non-conference play. And this is a team that does a lot of things right. Their fundamentals are excellent. They take care of the basketball. They force a ton of turnovers. They're a great offensive rebounding team. They get to the free throw line, but they're also shot quality-wise pretty solid. They're a great three-point shooting team, and their two-point defense is top 30 in the nation. And they only give up two-point field goals. Two-point field goals equate to 40.1% of the points that they're giving up this season. That's the second fewest, and that's really important because Gonzaga is a team that scores a lot of its points from two-point range. They're 7th best in two-point field goal percentage. They score 58.7% of their points from two-point field goals. They're not as great of a three-point shooting team as we've seen from Gonzaga teams in the last decade. So Gonzaga, I think, might be a little bit more uncomfortable offensively than it usually is. And we know the Gonzaga defense is certainly beatable. It's decent. It's top 50 in adjusted defensive efficiency. But we've seen teams have their way. We saw St. Mary's, a team that's known for its defense, put up just under 70 points in that West Coast Conference tournament game. And I think that Gonzaga could be in trouble here. It's a small spread for a good reason. I think McNeese is a pretty popular 12-5 pick. And I like their chances to at least cover the number. But I also sprinkle on the money line as well. And I think they get the job done as the outright W. Next up, we see the 15-2 matchup in the East region as South Dakota State takes on Iowa State. This one's going to be 7:35 Eastern on True TV. Now, to me, if there was a 15 seed to upset a 2 seed in the first round of this year's tournament, this would be the one. And it's not because I think Iowa State's a bad 2 seed. I really like Iowa State. We've backed them so many times this season. They've done really well for us, and I think they're a great team. However, I do think that this is not a great draw for Iowa State. I think South Dakota State is a better team than a 15 seed should be. And listen, in the last 3 seasons, we've seen at least one 15 seed upset a 2 seed. 2021, it was Oral Roberts over Ohio State, and they went on to the Sweet 16. Then it was St. Peter's against Kentucky. They won a big run, and then Princeton over Arizona last year. So to me, there's some live dogs here with these big seeds. Usually, you used to just be able to put the 1 and 2 seeds into the second round and not really have anything to worry about. But we saw, Purdue go down last year. We saw Arizona. So I think that there's certainly some live dogs, and this is one of them. South Dakota State, a potent offense, a very good shooting team. They're 19th in the country in effective field goal percentage, top 50 in three-point shooting. Those teams are dangerous in March. We know that. We know the teams that can make the three-point jumpers are very dangerous, but also South Dakota State's defense really improved from last year. Last year, this was a defense that just couldn't get it done in Summit League play, and this year, they're top 160 in adjusted defensive efficiency. They're making improvements. They're strong on the defensive glass, and they don't take too many fouls. They're very disciplined defensively. And Iowa State, while they're, we know they're strong, number 1 in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency, the offense is always the concern. Last year, it was dreadful. This year, it's improved quite a bit, but they're still outside the top 50 in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're not an amazing shooting team. They shouldn't get those second chance looks because the Jackrabbits are good in the defensive glass. They shouldn't get to the free throw line much. And I worry about if South Dakota State goes up early, can Iowa State's offense come back? This is an Iowa State team. It's been excellent at home, but on the road and in neutral site games, they weren't great. They won the conference tournament. That was a really good sign to see. They won those 3 neutral site games in the Big 12. But in non-conference play, losing against Texas A&M, losing against Virginia Tech, and then all those true road games in the Big 12 they lost, it concerns me as a huge favorite in this game. I still think Iowa State wins it in the end, but getting 16.5 points is just way too much. I think the value is on the money line as well, so I'm going to sprinkle on the money line, but give me the points with the Jackrabbits in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Thursday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully your bracket's not busted by the end of the day. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And again, if you are looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. As always, it's Ron Romanelli. Good luck.